Welcome back to another episode of the Rock Solid Sports Podcast. Today is Sunday, November 10th, and the Los Angeles Dodgers are World Series champs once again.
Yes, they are.
I couldn't be more excited. We doing this like a week late, technically, from the reaction, so this is obviously really late, but still excited. I'm still riding the high. So getting into free agency coming up soon. Postseason baseball was amazing this year. And then, it was football over the last couple weeks. Trump won the election. No, I'm just kidding.
That'll be a segment.
Yeah. So we got a bunch to talk about on the other side. Let's do it.
We gonna make it, baby.
Rock solid. Rock solid. Rock solid. Rock solid. Rock solid sports.
Welcome back to this week's episode of the Rock Solid Sports Podcast. We are brought to you by Slove. Slove is not just Colorado's next and up-and-coming clothing brand. It's a clothing brand who aims to bring up movement globally. When you wear a Slove piece, you're not just wearing a piece of clothing, you are elevating your style and representing what love looks like. They have a new drop coming soon. I don't know if I should have shared that information. Probably not a big deal, but in the works. Go check them out on Instagram at slove.co. That is sluv.co. Or go check them out on their website at sluv.us. That is sluv.us. All right. Well, let's get excited because, like I said, the Los Angeles Dodgers have won the World Series.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of predicted by everyone here. It was not really a shock. I think it was kind of a shock how the Yankees ended up playing in the World Series. I was expecting a little bit more competition from them. But at the end of the day, the Dodgers were just able to outpower them, and I think that's the biggest thing. That last game, I mean, the Yankees just beat themselves. That's really that was the biggest part of it. That's probably the worst inning I've ever seen in my life. And what was it, 400 or 500 runs?
Oh, yeah. It was 500 runs after Garrett Cole was literally pitching a no-hitter.
Yeah, and also there's a lot of times where a lot of people say, I could do that, blah, blah, blah. If you put me in that position Aaron Judge was in and you get me in the right angle of that, there's no way I'm dropping that ball. And I honestly don't know how he did. But yeah, I think it fell a lot flatter than I think the Yankees thought that they were going to perform in there.
I think the last time we recorded, it was through 2 games going to New York. I think we all predicted that they weren't coming back to LA, or I think maybe someone said they were. I don't remember, but you guys did correctly choose the finals or the World Series matchup of the Yankees Dodgers. Both of you guys got that correct. I guess we'll start in Game 3. Going into New York, I think it was Walker Buehler on the mound. You kind of thought, like you said, that was a must-win game for the Yankees. Yeah. Obviously, it was. They didn't win it. Kind of going down 3-0 is not very, it's not a very good thing for what you want to do. But it was just Walker Buehler shoved on the mound. I forget. I think it was Clark Schmidt or something like that for them, giving off a Freddie Freeman, first inning home run. Yeah. How great was he?
Awesome. Yeah, I was happy to see him do as good as he did.
He was awesome the whole time. Game 4, you kind of saw the Yankees break out a little bit.
Looked like how people thought they were going to play in that World Series.
The whole series, yeah. Guys got their bats hot. Volpe, I think, had a grand slam that game. Jazz Chisholm had a homer. And then I think, it was just pretty much Yankees from the get-go. And then it was our bullpen game for the Dodgers. So, and then Game 5, obviously Jack Flaherty on the mound. He kind of gets cooked early for the Dodgers. Garrett Cole is shoving through 5 innings. And it all falls down. Yeah. The empire falls down.
Yeah. I think like the big overarching thing to take away from this game, or the series, I guess, is that when the Dodgers needed something to be done, they did it. And when the Yankees needed to do something, they didn't. And I think that's what it really came down to, because all these games were close. Like, it wasn't really like they were just blowing them out of the seats. Like, they were all very close. But when it came down to crunch time, the Dodgers were the team that were able to do what they needed to do to win.
Yeah, it was mostly all the little things, like the base running, the Yankees fielding balls in the outfield, throwing them into the infield, and they're just sloppy. Yeah. And they'll let, Shohei advance a base, which is, swung the game in that last game. But it was just all the mistakes that they made, which was kind of surprising. I think the Dodgers have said it on multiple podcasts. Like, obviously, we're not going to be the ones to break this, but like, I think the Dodgers even knew that, like, the Yankees, there were flaws that were they were going to beat themselves up. And every time that something important was going to happen, that they would just fold under pressure. And whether that was defensively or at the plate, It was just kind of all around.
Yeah, no, and there's just a bunch of decisions that were made that I wouldn't agree with. There was one time, I think it was the last game, where they intentionally walked Mookie to get Freddie up there to end the game.
No, that was game 1, but they did
it again though.
They did it again, but it didn't result in, I don't think, much.
Yeah, but yeah, so I mean that I didn't agree with, and then also just like the 2 pitches right down the gut to Shohei, and then right back to
Freddie.
Freddie,
And that was that game 1. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just I don't really understand that idea particularly. I think
I loved that idea.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. But yeah, I think it's just something to take. The Yankees, like, I don't know what else they need to do. Like, I like comparing them to kind of like the Cowboys the past couple of years in terms of like you have all the pieces, but you can't win for some reason, and it's starting to be concerning.
Coaching.
Yeah. So it's just I don't know. I don't know if they need to just restart and keep 2-3 core guys, but like.
I mean, they're getting old.
Yeah.
Aaron Judge is getting old. I mean, he's like 31, I think.
Yeah,
Garrett Cole's 30-something.
Stan's kind of old, and honestly, he's been their best player like the whole playoffs.
And they're going to lose their other best player probably in free agency, which is not a good look for them.
Mm-hmm.
But Scott Boras is going to make sure that Juan Soto gets his money.
Mm-hmm.
I think I told Caden it was game 3, and they sent Stanton around the bases to run home. I think he was at second, and they sent him on that like base hit line drive, and then Teoscar threw him out. I think I told Caden at that moment, I was like, oh, this team wants to win a fucking World Series.
Yeah, you'd have to be smoking crack to think that Giancarlo Stanton was going to make that. I mean, he wasn't even close.
No, he wasn't.
That ball was coming into the infield when he was rounding third.
And Ian, the third base coach, was like, go,
you got this.
It's just crazy. Thoughts for you in that series? I know we watched most of it together, but
I mean, I honestly, like you guys said, I thought it was going to be a lot closer. I guess I don't know why with how the Yankees played. I think we all said it. They needed their captain to step up, and he didn't. He is not a riser. He's a faller.
That was, yeah.
Good one. I don't know. It was. You can't even say it was a good series. It kind of just killed them each time, except for one game. And then the last game was good until.
No, it was great. The whole time, it was great. It was a great game. Inning was kind of just it summed up the perfect, like, it's just how the series went.
Yeah,
essentially. And then one last thing before we move on, those fucking fans.
Yeah,
they tried to rip off my right fielder's wrist.
Oh, yo.
They could have broke my right fielder's wrist, and they're getting glorified on the internet. Yeah. Yankees scum, absolute scum.
Yankees couldn't do it, so they had to step in.
Yeah, but it was just funny because it was like the person that did it looked exactly like what you would imagine a Yankees fan looking like. Like, I'm dead serious. So was I wrong?
No.
I mean, it's no offense to my Yankee fan brethren, but that was a perfect description of a guy in New York that would do that at a Yankees game. That guy wanted to rip off Mookie Betts' wrist. Not actually, but he had the face that made it look like it. So, other than that, yeah, Freddie Freeman, World Series MVP. I'm excited for him, especially you're a Braves guy. Just kind of what he went through throughout the whole year of injuries, and with his son getting like almost like deathly ill and sick. And then to have his moment. And then he homered in 4 straight World Series games, and it was 6 dating back to his World Series in Atlanta. Crazy performance by him. He was clutch. Shohei played as good as I guess he could have with a torn labrum, which was interesting to find out after the fact, and he got surgery. And then, it's now free agency, and we have a couple guys that are free agents. So I don't want to see, Kike Hernandez leave because he steps up in October, ironically, unlike Aaron Judge. We have Blake Trinan, I think. He might be a free agent. We got to get him back for sure because he was huge in those last couple of games. And then obviously Teoscar Hernandez, and who knows if the Dodgers are in the Juan Soto race. Who knows what that really means for Teoscar too? But I'm hoping we can get as many good players as possible because I just want to build a dynasty.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I don't know. I could see Juan Soto going there, but I don't know. I think he might. I'm not sure. He's a weird cat. I don't really know where he's gonna go. I think
he's gonna go whoever gives him the most money.
Yeah.
Any team, he said.
Yeah, any team. Like, what if he just goes to like
the Rockies?
Yeah.
Do you think he'd be willing to donate to the Braves one?
No. No. You guys aren't giving him that whole stupid fucking contract that all your players signed for some reason. But no, I'm excited to see what happens in this offseason for baseball. It's one of my favorite times of the year. But now, college basketball has started. That's gotten in the swing of things. The NBA is kind of in full swing now, literally. Joel Embiid is pushing reporters. If the NBA, the drama's all the way back. So I also talk about the NBA real quick, unless you guys had any last thoughts on baseball. Last time I think we were on here, I said that the Nuggets stink, or the Nuggets might stink, and that the Russell Westbrook experience, I wasn't out, but I wasn't fully convinced. Two things have swung. And they kind of correlate with each other. Russell Westbrook's been playing great for the Nuggets. He still has his little issues, like of turning the ball over, or obviously just he's not the best shooter in the world. But the energy he brings to this team, the veteran leadership that we talked about, that we were going to get from him, it's really shown. I guess like even with our young guys and him pushing the floor up to with Jokic, as we watch the highlights right here. It's been cool to see the Nuggets. I think they've won 6 out of their last 7 games or something like that. Have a chance to make it 7 out of 8 tonight against the Mavericks. It's been a revelation to see the Nuggets
7 of the last 8.
7 of the last 8. The Nuggets look good again.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like they have all the pieces to be pretty solid. Like you guys were saying before the season that they probably got a little worse. But, I mean, as long as you got a guy like Jokic and Murray and Russell, like it's kind of – if you can get everything to kind of get into harmony and be simpatico with each other, like you can kind of keep things going. But as long as Jokic is on the floor, you're always going to have a shot.
And Christian Brown has been great too. Extra shout out to him. I think he's averaging like 16 points or something like that, which is insane because KCP was, on the roster last year and we didn't want to lose him. And Christian Brown has been playing better. And if you look at KCP stats in Orlando, teams are going to start to learn that you can't just keep taking our players and signing them to these big contracts because they don't have Nikola Jokic next to them anymore.
Yeah, no.
And all their stats, this happens every time.
Yeah. A big reason why they play as good as they do is because of the harmony that goes on within the Nuggets team. And so when you take that person out of that situation, you realize that they were just like a cog in a very good system over in Denver. And I think teams will start to realize that. And I think Denver might be able to hold some more of their players, kind of like Jesse Chavez with the Braves. Like he is amazing. He's one of the best pitchers that we have. And then he goes somewhere else, and then he's so terrible that we just get him back for free. So it's just, I think teams will start to realize that, and you'll be able to keep hanging on to him. But I don't know. Teams love throwing money at what could be a solution for their team. So
it's just Orlando Magic throwing money at every single shooting guard ever that we have. That's successful in Denver. So they need to stop doing that. Yeah, Christian Brown, they need to stay the fuck away.
Yeah.
He's leading the team in field goal percentage too.
God, he's been a monster this year, which is crazy when you have a guy like Nikola Jokic on your team.
Yeah.
Thoughts for you early in the season?
I was with you last week or a couple weeks ago. I was worried, but we're looking good. Things are starting to click. Russ is, like you said, playing amazing. Those things very much go together, and I think everyone knows that. If Russ plays good, I think everyone plays good, I guess, in a way. But we're looking good. I have hope again, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think it was the last 3 or I guess 4 years I've kind of been really confident going into the season that Jokic would probably win MVP. This year was kind of the one year I was like, I don't think he's going to do it. Voter fatigue, all this stuff. He might do it again. His stats are insane right now. He's averaging a triple-double. I think it's almost 30, 14, 10, something like that. Close to that, it's 28, probably 13 point something and 10, low 10s. But still, for a center to be averaging triple-double, I think we're only 10 games into the season. But
28.9, 13.2, and 11.3.
Oh, 11.
Leads the league in boards.
Yeah, it's just he's he might do it again. He might be the one person to break voter fatigue.
Yeah.
And that would be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, when you have somebody who does what he does, it's kind of insane. Especially having seen him play live before, we all have, it's a men amongst boys kind of. He's so much better than everybody on the court, and the way he moves doesn't correlate to that. If you watch him play basketball on TV, he looks slow, but he's still getting it done. But if you watch him live, he's just extremely dominating.
Yeah,
and that just isn't going to change until he probably till he retires. That's never going to stop.
It's not. It's not. That's the beautiful thing.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Voter fatigue is the only reason why he won't leave his career with probably 6, 7 MVPs.
Hey, you never know. The way he's dominating, I mean, it's just something we've never seen before. And I hate, like, I feel like I say this just every time we talk about him. It's just how, like, it gets, if you're a Nuggets fan, you truly understand that you don't think he can get better. And then just every offseason, somehow he continues to get better at, like, even the just smallest things. And he's also not that he's dominating, he's mentally dominating every single game. Like, he knows, what was it, the Timberwolves game? When Rudy Gobert and Anthony Edwards were like, he knows all of our plays. Like, he knows plays like our team doesn't even know of our plays.
They didn't even
like,
say anything, and he knew the play.
Yeah, they didn't even say anything, and he just knew what they were going to do already. Like, it's mental warfare out there for him, and that's, I think, my favorite part about watching him. It's just how smart he is, because you don't see that with the most talented players sometimes.
Yeah. Also, if you see the videos comparing him to other people in the offseason, everybody's like trying to get stronger and faster and all this. And I think Jokic is more concerned with how can I beat them strategically, because I already know I have the skill to beat them. Now I just need to know how to just like beat the individual person that I'm playing against. And it doesn't really, strength doesn't always matter in that. So I think he just finds a way to just mentally and strategically just beat his opponents consistently.
Any last thoughts on the Nuggets or Nikola Jokic's possible MVP campaign?
It's a beautiful thing to watch. I'm glad that he plays here. That's for sure.
That's the
And you
biggest
never
thing.
really have to worry about him leaving either. 'Cause
No.
I don't think he cares to move anywhere.
He'll never leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the only thing we have to worry about is him retiring, and because like you were just talking about, the way he plays the game is not really I don't think it's going to be the worst on his body. Not anymore. At least he's not getting beaten down as much as he used to.
He's still getting fucking mauled. I don't know what they don't give him fucking foul calls, and it makes me upset. I need to talk to the league about this. Another MVP in Denver, Colorado, Nathan McKinnon.
Yeah.
The Avs, I think also last time on the show, I think 2 times ago, I said that they were really bad. And then I forgot to mention that they're kind of okay right now.
Yeah.
Last time we talked. Nathan McKinnon and Cale Makar, what they're doing to the rest of the league right now is kind of hilarious. They're, I think, both top 3 in points. I think Nathan McKinnon's 1. I think Cale Makar's 3. They're both on, I think, point streaks, so I think probably up to like 14 for the whole. I don't know how many games they've exactly played, but I think it was they're both at least 13.
It's about 15 games.
So they might be on like a 15 or 16 point streak, or whatever. I said that way wrong, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And it's just insane what they're doing to the rest of the league. Like, the Avs have been one of the most beat up teams, just with injuries and stuff. Did not have a great start to the season. I think they were like 1-4 or 0-4, something like that. And now, what's the record? What are we looking at?
7-8.
7-8, almost 500. I know we won last night. That was a good game. I'm just excited. It's like we just said with Jokic. It's awesome having those 2 guys on the team.
Yeah. No, definitely. I mean, it's a great time, really, for Colorado sports in general. I think, you got the Avs kind of with 2 the more dominant players in the NHL. You got the Nuggets with the best player in the NBA. Broncos are starting to look up. Like, that's a great future ahead of them, in my personal opinion. Like, it's a good time to be a Denver sports fan. But, yeah, I mean, everybody here loves the Avs, and, like, they love them so much that if you're around it for just long enough, you begin to love them too.
Yeah.
I really didn't care about hockey until they won the Stanley, and I was surrounded by all of that. I started to become a lot bigger of a fan. So it's always awesome to see them kind of heat up, because when the Avs get hot, they get really hot and they start kind of dominating. And it's just really fun to see those guys out there when they can really kind of get into a groove, especially, Makar and McKinnon. So I'm just interested to see how the rest of the season goes. Yeah,
and just looking around the league, I haven't really been paying attention to more other sports besides like football. Not even really basketball either, because most of my focus was on baseball for a whole month straight. So I really didn't have time, but now I'm going to start, watching hockey again and stuff. So I'm excited for that. But just looking around the league, the Winnipeg Jets are 14-1.
Yeah.
That is insane. They're 9-1 in their last 10. They're plus 36 goal differential, which is absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Have no losses on the road, which is also insane. They're really good. Florida, the Stanley Cup champs from last year, they're pretty good, sitting at 11-3.
Yep.
Devils look all right, and the Minnesota Wild also look good, but we can't say that because we are at Colorado Avalanche supporters.
Yep.
So fuck the Wild.
That's right.
Any thoughts on Cale Makar or Nathan McKinnon or the Avs?
I won't lie to you. I don't think I've watched a single game, but
I think I've maybe watched a period this whole time.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I've caught glimpses maybe, but I think you were saying the last time they started the season 0-4.
They ended up winning Stanley Cup that year.
So, I mean, hey, there ain't nothing to worry about, and especially whenever you have Nathan McKinnon and Cale Makar. We going to be good.
Team's not as stacked as that team that year.
No.
If you look back on that team that year, they were so ridiculously stacked.
Yeah.
Except to goalie. We've just never – is that like an issue here? Like we can never get a good goalie here? It seems like, since like Patrick Raw. Is it like – because baseball, we can't get any good pitchers because the altitude.
Yeah.
Why the hell can't we get a goalie? The altitude don't affect the ice.
No.
It might.
It might, but I don't hear about it.
It's harder to sit there. And I don't know.
I just
because
don't
the
get it.
air's thinner, so the puck moves faster.
Possibly.
Do you think it has anything to do with like he was kind of around when we won the Stanley, so they feel necessary to keep him around? Like,
when the goalie we have now, he's not the goalie we had for that run, but we had Darcy Kemper now. Now it's what the fuck is his name? Gorgiev, Alexander Gorgiev. I don't know why. I just don't understand why. Like in free agency, they never. I get it's totally different too. Like I'm not as deep into like NHL free agency and all this stuff, but like there was the Boston guy. I'm gonna get so mad. I'm not gonna remember his name. He was the goalie this year. I think he's still undergoing like contract talks, but like I don't even know if he's been playing. But we could have went and traded for him. I don't know. He's one of the best goalies in the league. Swayman, I think his name is, but I don't know. I will never get that situation. I'm gonna need someone to explain that to me. So we'll find that out for next episode.
Yeah. Do some research.
All right. We'll move away from the NHL. I think we will talk college football this week. In the past week, the college football playoff rankings came out, which were a little interesting to look at. And then, obviously, we had this past weekend of a couple upsets, a couple surprising games, a couple not so surprising games. In the case of Miami losing to Georgia Tech. Yep. I'll let you start wherever you want to start.
I'll just go ahead and get it out of the way, honestly. Talking about Georgia going down to Oxford and taking the L there.
What?
Before I get into it, there's going to be a lot of ifs, like what ifs, what if that, what if this. I do want to say that Ole Miss is a really good football team. I think they're a lot better than the 16th rank that they were given by AP. But getting into the game, it was really offensive line play calling were just atrocious. I think something that's really important to look at is it was the first 4 drives, looking back on it now, kind of illustrated how the game was going to go. Because on the first drive, Georgia's defense came out flying. They got the interception, drove down. We scored a touchdown. It was our last one of the game. But Ole Miss, I think what they did that Georgia didn't do was adapt to how the game was going. So what happened on that first one is Georgia's pass rush showed to be too dominant to, stop. So what did they do? They immediately, the next drive, switched to 5-yard digs, 5-yard posts, 5-yard corners, where the ball was in the hands, a drop step out within 2 seconds.
Quick.
Yeah, so they didn't have to worry about their line. So they adapted, whereas in Georgia did not. Mike Bobo, our offensive coordinator, called probably one of the worst games I've ever seen. I think there had to be at least 15 bubble screens in that game that never worked. I think the reason he was calling them is because our offensive line was playing pretty pitiful, so they're getting back there really fast. But I think if you want a perfect illustration on his play calling for that game and his awareness, which is terrible, I do not know why we keep bringing him back. Let me set the stage for you. It's 25 to 10, down 15. Georgia is the type of team that can score 2 touchdowns in the span of 3 minutes, getting a stop. But you got to score quick. Here's the first 2 plays of that drive. The first one was a wide receiver bubble screen. Mind you, no timeouts, 3 minutes left. Kind of got to score quick. Wide receiver bubble screen that's caught and almost immediately thrown to the defense and almost intercepted.
To the defense.
And then the next play, I shit you not, we ran a play action pass. Why would we run the ball at all? So pretty much what we did is we said, we're going to take extra time to make them think we're going to run, even though that's not even a general possibility. And we're going to take time so that our offensive line, who's been playing pitiful, can let him back there, and then he gets sacked, drops the ball. So that sucked. But yeah, no, there were a couple drives there where like can't blame it all on play calling because like Nate Frazier caught a ball, fumbled it when we were in field goal range, which at that moment a field goal we would have taken that. So it's just really hard to look at that, and I think Kirby Smart's going to have to do a real sit down with Mike Bobo, and he's going to have to fire him. He's never been good. And he's never going to be good. We're talking about a guy who was at Georgia, sucked, went to Colorado State, who sucked, made him worse, and then for some reason we were like, this is our guy. Let's bring him back. So I don't know what their next move is. I know Sam Pittman might be out at Arkansas. I wouldn't mind having him back. He was.
Well, there's no need to focus on that now. You're still the 11th ranked team in the country.
Yeah, no, I know, but it's hard to watch because you watch a team that you know is better. This is a team that beat Texas very well.
Yeah, we know.
And scored 40 points and a half almost against Alabama. Like we've seen what they can do, so it's disappointing and confusing when they come out and play like this. But honestly, like I told you before the podcast, this was one of the games going into the season. It was Alabama, Tennessee, and Ole Miss that I was like, I could see us, and Texas. It wasn't. I thought we were going to be fine against Alabama. I'll be honest. But it was Texas, Ole Miss, and Tennessee. I was like, those are the games that we could lose, and so I've been right on most of them. It just makes Tennessee a must-win game because the AP ranked us 11,
which is crazy drop.
Yeah, I think when the college football playoff prediction come out, I think we'll be 9. I think 9 will be where we end up landing at, which still makes it a must-win against Tennessee. If we had maybe fought a little harder in that game and maybe got lucky and got to like the 6th spot, kind of, I could see us losing to Tennessee and still making it in. But it just makes Tennessee a must-win game at Stanford Stadium at night. It's going to be a big advantage to us. I don't think they're going to have their starting quarterback unless he's healthy. I'll have to look. But, it's just disappointing when you see a team that you know can play a lot better than this go out there and kind of shit the bed and score 10 points.
Oh, a lot of good analysis there, Mr. Smith. A lot to unpack. Do you have any thoughts, real quick, before I make the joke that I'm about to make?
Thoughts on the Georgia game?
Yeah, or just Georgia right now as a program.
He said they're 11. They're dancing still.
They have a path. There's a path.
There's a path for sure. I mean, they're in the path.
They are
currently.
The path.
So I think it's Georgia. They'll be all right. Just gotta figure it out.
So, do you want to hear my analysis on the Texas game this weekend?
Yeah, sure, go for it.
We beat the fuck out of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that was it. I'm not. You had the 5-minute just rant, all true stuff, all factual information, and it was funny because I barely watched any of the Texas game. I would just look up for half a second, and I would see Quinn Ewers throwing the ball in the end zone, and I'd be like, all right, I'm gonna go back to watching YouTube on my phone.
Yeah. Dude, that's what I'm saying. That's what I just don't. Other than like a handful of occasions. Being a Georgia fan is stressful. I think on the outside, it doesn't seem that way.
Oh, 2 national championships.
I know. That's what I'm getting at. But it's stressful because we don't play a lot of the time like back-to-back national champions that are at one all the time. Like if you look back at those back-to-back national championship seasons, there's multiple games against not good teams that we went to the ends with. And I don't know what it is about Kirby not wanting to hire certain people. But, what you guys did to Florida.
Beat the shit out of them.
Yeah, Georgia doesn't do that. They will go into and play Florida or, Kentucky or something like that. They'll play a not very good team. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, we don't just beat the shit out of them. And that has always been the case. The only time that's ever happened is against TCU in the national championship. That's the only time that's ever happened.
Beat the shit out of them.
It happens occasionally, but, for the most part, we're going to hopefully beat Tennessee, but we're going to play Georgia Tech in the last week of the season. It's going to be a nail-biter for no reason.
Don't let Georgia Tech get hot now.
No, literally. We're going to play soft, and we have this kind of what Alabama had for so long of this, we're going to play down to our competition, and we're going to come back in the fourth quarter, the second half, and we're going to miraculously somehow win. I just hate it because all our players, I don't know if it's I don't know if they just think too much of themselves and they're too high up a lot of the times, and I keep thinking that these close games are going to snap them out of that, and then it just doesn't. But I don't know. Carson Beck, we're going to have to see how he does. But I don't know. It's going to make next week a lot more stressful than it could have been if we would have won against Ole Miss.
Yeah, I can see that. I'm worried for your health next week, especially having a friend like Morgan in your life who, if Tennessee wins, the first call,
we haven't even played, and he says he's going to burn my house down. But I was thinking about it though after we lost, because that was the first game that I've watched in a long time where I was like viscerally mad. Like very upset with what I was seeing on the screen.
You were really mad that first half of the Georgia Alabama game as well.
No, yeah, I was, but I was quiet.
You were quiet.
I was very loud.
You were visibly upset.
Yeah,
though.
I was vocally upset in my basement watching Georgia get chopped down by the same 5-yard post route 7 times in a row down the field. But yeah, no, it was the first time in a while that had happened. And but I did think about something after the anger has subsided. There's a positive and a negative to not making making and not making the playoffs. Negative, obviously.
We're jumping to conclusions.
I was coping right now.
Yeah. Negative, obviously not making it. Positive, it would be really nice to sit and watch that chaos unfold and not have to fucking
That's true.
like sweat over every game. Like I'd rather sweat over every game, but it will be nice to do that if Georgia can't pull this win off. Because that's kind of where my head's at right now.
Some people just aren't built for October,
Yeah,
Yeah.
But no, that's kind of just where my head's at right now. It's a very, very unsettling fog feeling over Athens right now. That's just not. They're just not. No one feels good about how we're playing right now.
It's just over there dying. No, I feel you.
Does this anger have to do with performance, or does it have to do with opponent? Does that have anything to do with it?
No, I mean, I hate Ole Miss for sure, but I mean,
Good question.
yeah,
Good question.
Yeah, I do hate Ole Miss as a Mississippi State alum. I do hate Ole Miss more than anything, but it's
Hotty-toddy.
I'm more mad at Georgia because Ole Miss just played a good football game.
Yeah.
That's all it was. Like, you can't get mad at somebody for just generally playing better than you did and adapting better than you did and play calling better than you did. Like, I have to sit there and kind of take that. So, I don't know. We'll have to see how they do. Ole Miss still has to kind of get a little lucky to get in there. Like, they still have probably
They're sitting at number 10 right now.
yeah. So, and that's in the AP. We'll see where they're at in the college football playoff. So, I don't know. That's kind of my breakdown of that whole thing.
All right, so we'll move on to the rest of college football because we got to kind of speed through this part. Oregon keeps, just rolling their opponents right now.
Dylan Gabriel, most college football or most touchdowns all time
ever.
Has he been in the league for a long time?
The league?
You know what I mean?
I know. I think so, right? I know he's at Oklahoma for 2 years or 3 years, and now he's at. Or I have no clue, honestly. I think he's just been in a bunch of air raid offenses, which I mean, good for him. Texas, back at number 3 in the country, but we'll save that for the end. Penn State, I forget who they played. They lost to, they beat Washington, but they lost to Ohio State in that big game last week. Indiana, 10-0, Coach Cignetti, leaving James Madison and going there, totally turning around this football program. They are 10-0. They're number 5 in the country in the AP rankings. How awesome for Indiana that they get an actual school to cheer for and not just that fake Notre Dame Catholic school. Sorry, that was I could have left that part out.
But no,
Irish Catholic to be specific.
Indiana is having just a great year, just all around. I mean, they're hot right now. The game with Michigan was a little bit close, and I think that's something that might actually benefit them a little bit in terms of kind of kicking them out of a lull that they might be in right now with just kind of winning. You kind of need those close calls to kind of snap back out of it and be like, hey, we're a good team, but we're not that good. We need to keep pushing. We need to keep going through these opponents. So I'm interested to see how they do. Their performance in the college football playoffs, because I think they're going to make it probably, will be completely relying on who they play. Because, I mean, there's a world where Indiana plays Georgia, on the first game. So we'll have to see, who they end up playing. Because if they end up getting a nice road, they could make it very deep in the playoffs.
Coach Cignetti's a really good coach, and I think he said it when he first got brought there. Purdue sucks, but Michigan and Ohio State sucks too. He's knocked out 2 of them.
Yeah.
Ohio State, November 23rd, a special day in these residents because it's someone's birthday. But on your birthday, Indiana will play Ohio State, And that'll be a huge game for the Big Ten championship. And who's going to be in that? It might be the winner might get into the Big Ten championship of that game and play Oregon. So great season by Indiana. I mean, it's been just awesome to watch. Usually, they're not a basketball school anymore. They're not just a basketball school. Tennessee stands at 6. Who cares? BYU. Shout out to Hunter. BYU is now 9-0. Could have lost this weekend against Utah.
A lot of people are saying that holding call is not good.
It wasn't.
And it was not.
Did you see the AD went out for the presser? That's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
I do not think it was a good call, but a win is a win in football land.
Mm-hmm.
And BYU is 9-0. Indiana and BYU sit at 5-7 in the country.
That's insane.
Isn't this awesome?
Yeah.
And they said this was going to be bad for the sport. what are we talking about? This is awesome. Any thoughts?
It's always, did they call it until they call it? You know what I mean?
The fat lady sang.
Yeah.
Fat lady sung.
She did, loudly.
And she sung
harshly.
She sung the Book of Mormon that night.
Singing scripture.
I know Hunter was excited about that win, though, over Utah. Utah, big matchup next week against, the last team we'll talk about, Colorado.
Yeah.
I think we were here like 3 episodes ago, 4 episodes ago, something like that, maybe early.
Mm-hmm.
And I said Colorado had a path.
Yeah.
I think both of you guys agreed, but Colorado had a path. All they had to do is win out, like, pretty much, and they're probably going to make it to the Big 12 championship, which is crazy. Mm-hmm. And all you got to do is win one game, and then you get put in the college football playoff.
Yeah, and I mean,
it is. Yeah, they are like 3 games. Like, if they win like 3 games in a row, they're going to be in the Big 12 championship against probably Iowa State, who lost, or no, against BYU. I take that back because Iowa State and Kansas State lost this weekend. Mm-hmm. If Colorado does this, I think we said it last week or 2 weeks ago. The apology needs to be just as loud as all the bullshit that Deion has been going through and getting thrown his way.
No, yeah, I agree. I think, people have been really loud, like you said, about being very negative towards him. And he's done a great comeback with this team. And, I mean, what started the season off with that Nebraska game, everyone was like, it's the same team.
Yeah.
And he's proven that wrong. And he's been able to kind of run through a Big 12 that's been kind of in the middle, up and down. But I'm excited to see how they do. They do have a path. I think there's a world where
they're cutting around. we not pay rent. Fuck.
But I think you sent a text earlier about like Colorado having a path and whatnot. And I think what I was saying was, I think there is a world where CU wins out, goes to the championship and loses that game and still makes it in.
Oh, I don't know.
It really, I mean, because in that road, you need other teams to mess up. Yeah. That's what that would take.
Yeah.
But that's probably a part of their percentages right there. But
well, if Georgia goes to a 3-loss team and they get booted, I mean, that's an extra spot.
Yeah, no, exactly.
If any team pretty much goes 3 losses and you're not in the Big 12 or you're not the Big 12 champion, you're probably not going to make it.
Yeah.
But the Big 12 champion will probably end with 3 losses or around there, unless it's BYU who go undefeated. But like if we realistically look at this, Nebraska, they beat the shit out of Colorado. Yeah. Kansas State, that game was almost went to overtime. Yeah. Colorado could have won that game if they didn't allow that that drive that was like 2 plays, 70 yards, and like that 1 touchdown. Yeah. They could be 8-1 right now, which is just insane. Like Colorado football 1 has not been good like my whole life essentially. Yeah. At least I don't remember
Except
it.
For that one weird year they played Washington.
In the Pac-12 championship. Yep. And last year obviously it was cool to see all the attention of Deion and everything. Yeah. And obviously I think they're decent because they have 2 Heisman candidates and the best player in college football on the field at Travis Hunter at all times, literally, which is insane. But I just don't think people are giving Deion enough credit just for how this they look like a well-coached team. Yeah. Last year I couldn't really say that, and that wasn't even all Deion's fault. It's just a new program. It's gonna be highlighted a little more. He's actually coaching very well. Yeah. So I just want a lot of people to notice that because I thought that was cool. And then Shador's still Shador. Yep. Travis Hunter, 1 week closer to winning the Heisman Trophy once again. He is just crazy. The plays there's just no way to describe it. That interception that was not actually called an interception because there was an offsides call. He had no business catching that yesterday. Yeah. Then he has a touchdown. I think he had at that point of the touchdown, he had 9 catches for 95 yards or something and a touchdown. It's just insane what he's doing. Yeah. And I am so hoping for Colorado to pull this off because if they do, That's insane. And the only bad part is, no, it's not really that bad. It's just the only way they could like realistically make it, they wouldn't be able to have a home game, I don't think. But that would just be so sick to see Folsom Field in a playoff atmosphere.
Oh, that'd be insane.
The Boulder would probably blow up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but I mean, like
The Cartel would make so much money that weekend.
Yeah. If they can beat Utah, they're probably going to win out. If I had to guess, I think Utah is the last giant in their way, kind of.
Can't they? Kansas beat Iowa State. They had to beat the shit out of Iowa State.
Yeah, true.
And it's in Lawrence. Hey, you know what they say about Lawrence, Kansas? I don't know.
What happens in Lawrence stays in Lawrence.
That's a very true statement.
Someone told me that once.
Yeah. Who told you?
I don't remember his name.
Steve
or something.
Steve.
Like that.
Also, we won't talk about college basketball, but real quick, I just want to get this off my chest. KU's the number 1 team in the country. Mm-hmm. North Carolina should have beat them the other day. Yeah. They were up by 3 with like 2.5 minutes left, and I looked to myself and I was like, "We're gonna lose this game, aren't we?" I'm a North Carolina basketball fan. Been since I was a child. We can't beat KU. Ever since they beat us in the championship 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. I hate it. They really upset me. But I do love Lawrence, Kansas. So I'm really hoping for CU to win out. That'd be just really cool for the story. I might have to get a Travis Hunter jersey. I don't know. I feel like that would go crazy in 10 years. Yeah. Damn, you got that shit on. I'd be like, yeah. I was watching it. Yeah.
Get the Sanders with Shiloh. I'm gonna get the Shiloh
jersey. That's insane work. A Shiloh Sanders jersey.
21 in the Buffs is hard.
You could just say it's for Dion.
Yeah,
technically.
It's for his whole lineage.
Yeah. Are any more college football stuff that I forgot?
I do want to mention a tweet that I saw after.
One last thing I just remembered.
Brandon Walker. He tweeted this.
Hello,
recently, he said that this is very possible. That Ole Miss, Georgia, Tennessee, Texas, Texas A&M, and Alabama all finished the season 10-2, and they're all going to be in and around that number, that 12 number. He kind of mentioned are we going to put the teams that deserve to be in here, or are we going to give?
We're going to put the SEC.
Are we going to really? Are we going to give these teams the shaft to get a shitty Big 12 team in here that might get walloped by somebody? This is going to be a really big moment for the playoff committee. Because there's going to be a lot of fringe teams from the SEC that are going to probably be 10-2 that have the possibility of cracking the playoffs, and they're going to have to make a lot of decisions about who they think is better. And so I'm interested to see how they do that. I think the 12 team really opens up this conversation of middle level teams. And I think that's what we talked about it before the season started. That's what we were most excited about. We don't care about Oregon, Ohio State. They're gonna win out. They're gonna be fine. Even the 5 team Texas, Penn State, Texas. They're gonna be fine. They're gonna make it.
I don't jinx me now.
But now we're looking at the Georgias, the Ole Misses, the teams within the 12 to 15.
I feel like LSU's out now.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, definitely. And then the loser of that game was done.
Yeah,
whether it was Alabama or at LSU.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, but we're looking at the Georgias, the Ole Misses. We're looking at SMU. We're looking at these teams that are on this fringe, and because I guess it's realistically 11 teams because the 12 just goes to the best group of 5 team, which. Unless
looks like Boise State
looks like Boise State, unless they lose and Army wins out, which I predicted that's going to happen. I think Boise State might drop one. I think that's more. What was it? It's a hard pick, not a smart pick.
Yeah. And you're gonna say it on all days. Tomorrow's Veterans Day.
No, yeah.
Wow.
But that's definitely a hard pick for sure. So. We'll have to see. It's going to get really, really, really tight near the end here, especially with all the conference championships and how that's all going to shake out. Because, with 3 weeks left, if you want to bounce back to Colorado, with 3 weeks left, if they win out, a couple teams lose. Where are they going into the Big 12 championship if they make it?
Probably 2.
Probably, yeah. So it's who knows where they're going to be at? Because if they do all of that and a bunch of teams lose, they could be 9th in the country by the time the Big 12 championship comes around.
Fucking insane.
And if they lose that game, do you bump them out after losing to what could possibly be a top 5 ranked undefeated BYU?
Yeah, no, that's gonna be tough, man.
Yeah.
I guess everybody was worried that this would ruin the sport, and I think this is just showing the drama we expected of there being not just 6 teams that you have to care about that might make it in. It's 18 to 20 teams that you're like realistically like. If you're not Missouri right now, you can make it. And if you're in the top 25 like rankings and your name isn't Missouri, you have a chance of making the playoffs.
Yeah, or CU got ranked 20, and there was a path. There's a path for them to go get that. So, yeah, no, it's going to be really, really cool to see that. And honestly, as a fan, too, it really helps enjoy the season for longer because just as a Georgia fan, if the game versus Ole Miss happened last year with the 4 team, season's over.
Yeah,
there's 3 more games, and who gives a shit?
And the worst part is like Ole Miss would just have been playing spoiler at that point. Like they wouldn't have had a chance to win either.
Yeah, exactly. So now I'm like sitting with 2 losses, but I'm like, it's not over yet. Like we can still do this. And yeah, same thing with Ole Miss. Like you said, they're just playing spoiler, but now they actually have a shot to fight for a national championship now because of that win. Ole Miss is going to be an interesting decision for the committee because they're not really going to play anybody else here soon. I think they play Mississippi State. I know that they're going to win that. They're probably going to win out. But if nothing changes, they're going to be sitting at 10. That's going to be a really big decision for the committee to make where it's like, I don't know if we're going to do this. Like, we'll have to see what their decision making is. But yeah, I'm excited.
I really hope Texas just wins out so we don't have to worry about the 2-loss thing because I don't want to be put in that predicament where they're maybe the first team out either. So I really don't want to have to deal with that right now. Last thing we'll talk about in college football. Rest in peace, Ben Herbstreit.
Yeah.
Holy shit, did that make me want to cry? No, it actually didn't make me want to. It made me cry at 9, I think it was 9:26 in the morning. Yeah. Exact documented time.
Yeah.
Man, it made me want a dog. I don't know why. But like, it made me want a dog like instantly.
Yeah.
Yeah, just sad shit. I mean, like you could hear it in his voice, like on the College Game Day set, and then on like the tribute video he did, you could hear his voice in the very end, and that just instantly put like shock in my body. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, and what ended up killing me too is the comparison when Lee Corso had his hand on him. He's just like standing up for your boy when he's speechless. Like Lee Corso has a lot of Kirk has been standing up for Lee for so long because he is getting older and he can't put his words together, and he's been very understanding. So it's nice to see that in the opposite way of him being there to console him when he can't get the words out. Seeing him like shaking and not being able to talk was something else.
Thoughts?
It's just sad. No one wants to lose a dog.
All dogs go to heaven, so.
That's right.
No, that was just, it was sad. And Kirk Herbstreit's like, I was thinking about this the other day. He might be like the best reporter, like best like announcer in like any sport. Obviously, the calls, it's like you like Kevin Harlan, you like Jim Nantz. Gus Johnson's been a little shaky recently.
Well, yeah, they got him stuck on those shitty Big Ten games.
Yeah, but like Kirk Herbstreit he's like literally football. Like he's on Thursday night, Amazon Prime with Al Michaels, and then he's on all these shows throughout the week. Calling in, doing all this shit, and then he's on College Game Day, and then he has to go fly across the country and call a game at night, which I think was what was it? Was it which one did he call this week? Did he call Alabama LSU? Yeah, I think he did because he couldn't make the pick on that one. It's just he does so much, and like you see his face. If you watch football, you see his face everywhere. So, and his dog was right with him every time you saw his face. So it was just crazy thing to think of. And all dogs go to heaven. Yeah. That one was sad. So
now it's Peter's turn.
Peter, yep.
Peter to cause chaos.
Peter has a lot to learn. Yeah, a lot to learn about the big stage.
Big balls to fill.
Nice. Anything else on college football before we head to a break?
Nope. Miami, the frauds went down. That's great.
Oh yeah, there you go. You've been waiting for that.
I have.
All right. Well, Jackson's going to tell you guys about Verb Energy bars. Go buy them, and we'll see you on the other side.
Verb Energy bars give you that extra boost that you need in the morning. They have an assortment of different types of bars, whether it's from caffeinated bars for the morning, as well as protein bars, whether in the morning or after your workouts. My personal favorite right now is the chocolate chip banana bread. It's awesome. Helps me get through the day, through the podcast, also through the work throughout the week. So right now, if you go onto their website, use code ROCKSOLID, you can get 30% off your next order. Verb Energy is the best way to start your day. Go check them out.
Welcome back to the second half of the show. I hope you went and bought Verb Energy bars. Helps us a lot. We still have to record a new ad read for that at some point. I like the one we have now though. Is the pressure's on? It's not on Jackson anymore because like he already did it. But it's just I can just say Jackson's going to tell you about this. I don't have to be like we're going to tell you about this. It's just fun to say that. But make sure you go buy them, support them. We actually got paid for the first time from them.
Hey, there we go.
So I sent it to you. Hope you saw it. But anyway, check your Venmo. Anyway, before we talk football, Donald Trump got elected president of the United States. Boom or doom? No, I'm just kidding. I'm really happy that we don't have to see any more election commercials.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is the one thing us sports fans can be all happy and just ecstatic that it's over, because now I don't have to watch, my team give up 3 homers and then it goes to Trump fights for you, not the Kamala fights for they them. Like that commercial made me so fucking mad. Just because I literally see my team get shelled. Yeah. 3 home runs given up in like 1 inning, and then that would be the first commercial. And I'd be just like, leave me alone. Yeah. I know what's going on. No, I just thought it was funny to bring that up. Zach Bryan, boom or doom?
Doom.
Doom.
Yeah.
We're giving him 5 dooms on that.
I give him 5.
I'll give him 3.5.
I think we should still separate the art from the artist.
Definitely.
I'm a huge. If you know me, I'm a huge Barstool person. Like I follow like multiple podcasts from them. I watch like all their stuff. Inspiration behind what we started here, kind of. I'm not gonna stop listening to his music.
No, that's not gonna happen.
Was he a dick? Yeah, 1000%. He's kind of fucking asshole.
But did we kind of know this before this happened?
Yeah, we knew this before. $12 million. He must have. What the fuck was that, Jared Goff? $12 million. He offered an NDA to a woman. What the fuck did you do? That $12 million that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Bro, she has some shit for show.
Yeah, but
she said she wouldn't release it, so that's good for him.
But what's the point of not taking the money if you're not going to release it?
We were talking about that last night. I 100% agree. You either take the money because you're not going to release it, or you don't take the money and release it.
Is there any single country artists that are women?
Is it Megan Maroney maybe?
Okay, I want to go talk to them.
Okay.
And if they're offering me $12 million, boys, you guys, there will be signs.
I mean, I think it's going to be one of those things.
We would be on vacation the next day if I got offered $12 million.
I think it's going to be one of those things where she's not going to, for the most part, not going to care about wanting the money because I'm sure she gets paid.
She makes it decent.
Plenty. But I'm sure there's going to be a few moments every now and then where she's like, fuck, that'd be really nice right now.
God, that car looks so cool.
$12 million.
But, I mean, I guess it's kind of the peace of mind. You never have to worry about what you say. She can say whatever the fuck she wants. And
exactly.
And you wouldn't be looking at your bank account being like, this is quote-unquote blood money. Like, it's not actually blood money, but you know what I mean?
That's what she said.
Yeah, it's not. You don't have to look back at this and think, oh, this is how I made this money. But I would have still taken the money.
That's what I'm saying. Don't matter to me.
We would have been in Barbados I would have told you guys all to call off work for a weekend, and we would be on vacation because I would have retired right there.
Yeah.
She's crazy, but I respect her for not taking the money. Just I don't think I would have been the same.
No.
So if any Megan Maroney or any of them want to offer me a $12 million NDA, I would happily sign it, and I don't even have any dirt on them. I know that's the whole point.
Any women country music stars want to date me and treat me like shit for like a year, and then
I'm in.
I won't say anything.
No.
I feel like a big part of that is you have to get some evidence of said shit.
Well, we can figure that out.
Yeah, we can get that going.
Just walk outside to a group of grown men crying. He was mean to me.
man, pick up your fucking pants. Go to work, nigga.
Get out of my house. Matter of fact.
That was just one of the crazy stories over the weekend. It was funny because it was all on Twitter. It was just the election, people just arguing back and forth, and then just 3 days later, it's how quick the internet can get distracted. It's just, all right, Zach Bryan's a fucking scumbag now. We've gotten all of our attention off the election, and now it's all on just Zach Bryan being a piece of shit. And now he's like other ex-girlfriends coming out and saying stuff. It's all bad for him. But
but
we knew this. We knew it. It's just I guess any girl he dated was not as publicly known as Brianna is now, I guess. But pretty funny situation. At least his Eagles won today. We'll talk about some football. Thursday. What was the Thursday game? It was awesome. It was Ravens versus Bengals.
Yep.
Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase played literally as good as a football game as you could.
Yep.
And they still lost to the Baltimore Ravens, who have not one of those great defenses that they've had, since Lamar has been in the league. Usually he has good defenses. Lamar is about to walk to his third MVP.
Yeah, 100%. There's really nobody doing what he's doing currently at the consistent level that he's doing it. But yeah, I think one thing I've been taking away from this game is just like it's unbelievable how good the Bengals are, and they cannot find a way to win. Like it sucks watching them play because it's like they're really good.
You want them to be so good.
Every game except for that first one to start the year off against New England, they've played really well for the most part, and they just don't seem to win a lot. But yeah, I mean, if they can get into a groove and start getting some W's together, they can really get hot before the playoffs. But yeah, the Ravens are looking like an unstoppable force at the moment. I think they're far and away the best team in the NFL right now. I mean, you got the Lions, but I think it's literally those two. I think those two are far and away the best. I mean, you even got like I texted you guys about this earlier. The Chiefs, I think.
Well, we'll get there.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think they're far away the best two teams, and I don't see anybody really being able to stand in their way currently.
I think the Bills have put themselves at like a little bit different level, and like maybe they're not on that level, but they're also not on the level of
feisty.
All the teams that are below them, like a huge range.
Frisky.
Friskometer meter on the Bills.
Ooh, and they're a solid 8.
8?
Solid.
I like it. Yeah, Friskometer just keeps growing. Josh Allen, I mean, he's a dog.
Yeah.
What can you say? We'll go through some of the games today.
Oh, yeah, he tied O.J. Simpson for most rushing touchdowns.
I told him.
That's a huge mark for a franchise. Your best running back being O.J. Simpson. I mean, he was a really good running back.
He was.
Separate the art from the artist. Okay, at least Zach Bryan didn't kill anybody.
Allegedly,
yeah, that we know of. So the NFL, for some reason, decided to have a game in Germany today, and it was between the Giants and the Panthers. What did they do to deserve that? What
did anybody ever deserve to get the games that they're getting?
What did the Germans do to the U.S. to get that matchup the day before Veterans Day?
One day they're gonna
there's a reason.
One day they're gonna get like a Chiefs versus Ravens game.
Oh yeah,
you're just like being like Germany at 6 a.m. Get up and watch it.
They have me by like a string, man, because I was still up watching it. Like, did I want to watch that terrible product? No. And I wasn't really even interested in it. I was just up, and guess what I was going to turn the TV on to, football. Well, it's not like it was on, I wasn't going to not. But it was a terrible game, 20-17 in overtime. The Giants realistically should have won. Tyrone Tracy didn't fumble literally the first play of overtime, I think.
You see Bryce Young giggling like a little schoolgirl.
Yeah.
He figured out that they were probably going to win the game.
He looked really happy.
Yeah.
So good for him. I'm happy to see they have a 2-game winning streak right now.
Oh.
The Carolina Panthers have a 2-game winning streak. And with the Patriots win over the Bears today, the New York Giants are in slate to have the number 1 overall draft pick as if the season ended today.
Yep.
Who do you guys think they would take?
They got to go quarterback.
You have to, right?
Yeah.
But who? Carson Beck stinks.
Yeah.
I think is Cam Ward demon home?
Maybe. Honestly, I think the best quarterback that's going to come out of this draft is probably Garrett Nussmeier from LSU.
He's pretty good.
He's pretty solid.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of teams, what's going to end up happening is they're going to let him slip, and I think somebody like, Raiders at like 5 or something are going to end up getting
I feel like Shador and the Raiders are just a perfect match in heaven.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense for sure.
Either that or like the Dolphins if Tua ails.
Yeah, I think.
Mentally.
But I think if I had to pick, like I said, I think I'd go Nussmeier at number 1. I think what's going to happen, I think Cam Ward's going to go number 1. At our first quarterback off the board.
I'll say it also just depends on who has the number 1 pick.
Yeah, it's really. There's a good chance that
because the Bears might have. They've won like 4 games.
Unfortunately for them, they're going to do just good enough to the point where they're not going to have a top tier pick. But yeah, no, it really depends on the demographic of the teams in those. There could be 5 quarterbacks go right off the board and begin the thing. Like you never know.
You're about to say something.
Oh, I was going to say Shador, but then it was mentioned very shortly.
I think they should all tank for Cooper Flag, personally.
Capture the flag, baby.
Capture the flag, baby. All right, we'll move on to those 2 teams we're talking about. The New England Patriots go into Chicago and make Chicago look like a poverty franchise like they've always been. In my life, they've been somewhat decent. Like they were in the Super Bowl when I was young. But other than that, they've been, obviously they're historically good, but they've been pretty bad. And Big Cat publicly, one of the biggest Bears fans, he kind of talks about it. On his show, they've never fired a coach in the middle of the year. It might finally be the time that it needs to happen.
Yeah,
Yeah, they lose 19-3 to the Patriots, who were trying to lose games.
Yeah.
At home.
No, yeah, I that was the most shocking thing. Out of everything they did in the offseason to build their team and stuff like that, the most shocking thing that they did was keep Eberflus. I never understood that, really. I was like, he hasn't been a good coach, and you think you're going to surround him with good players, he's going to miraculously be better. I don't get that at all. But it kind of seems like coaching's not great, but it also feels like there's some like tension going on in this team right now. That like it just nothing's really clicking with anybody.
Yeah.
Like I don't think, if I had to guess, a part of it might have to do with Caleb Williams just not being a terrible leader, possibly. I don't know. I can't back that up with anything. That's just kind of like a hypothesis, I guess. But I don't know. Like maybe Caleb Williams is not meshing with the team very well, and that's very kind of hurting the whole team. And then you got the defense, who started the year off really good. But, if you're a really good defense on a really bad offensive team,
you're going to get beat up throughout the year.
You get beat up, and you start being like, well, if they're not going to take advantage of what we're giving them, why should we keep doing as good as we're doing? Like, it doesn't matter. So that hurts mentally, and I think that's a lot of what's going on. I think they're kind of below pace of what everybody's thought that they were going to do, but I think the way it looks is making it a lot worse.
Yeah, I agree. Any thoughts between those two teams or that game today?
No, I mean, poop. The Patriots.
Poop versus shit.
Yeah, I love watching the Patriots suck. I mean, they won, but
they still suck.
Exactly.
Drake May, 184 yards. He's been all right.
I was going to say, he looks pretty all right.
He's not the greatest, but he's not the worst.
I mean, he might be looking better. He played a better game than Caleb.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. All right, we'll move into Indianapolis, where the Buffalo Bills go in and honestly stomp the Indianapolis Colts. Score looks closer than it was, but we did score a touchdown with like 3 seconds left. Joe Flacco, man, I don't know what he was looking at today, but he was throwing the ball to the guys that had white jerseys on, and he needs to be throwing the ball to the guys who had blue jerseys on.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to do that. That was my analysis of the game. Jonathan Taylor played great. Kenny Moore, the cornerback, the slot corner for the Colts, he's like an all-pro, I think, twice.
Yeah.
After the game, he said that a lot of issues in the locker room of just people they're just being lazy, essentially, not having the same effort and drive as everybody in there.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think that is a whole organization issue, and he's right. It's kind of been this same mediocrity for the last God knows how many years at this point.
Yeah, I think, and honestly, I think at this point the Colts have entered the quarterback chat of like they're probably going to be looking to maybe pick someone up.
Maybe. I think they're still going to roll with Anthony Richardson. It's just what they're doing does not look great from the outside at all.
Yeah, and I mean, I get you do have to punish Anthony Richardson for that whole tired thing, but it's like you're kind of falling off the rails a little bit. Against the Bills, you would think at some point they'd be like, all right, Richardson, you've done your half. Get out there and go play. Yeah. But if they're not willing to do that, then it's going to be hard. It seems like Richardson was already kind of giving up. Like he's just kind of like very like, whatever. Like he doesn't really have that drive in him right now. So it's just you got to find a way to get that into him. But if he's tired and they take him out, then he gets resentment for the franchise. Then that just might be a recipe for disaster. And it might not be an issue of Anthony Richardson not being good enough to play for you guys. It might just be an issue of trouble in paradise, kind of him not wanting to play for the Colts because of everything that's going on, which I'm on the Colts side of everything that they've done. But I think if they can get it resolved well, he's a good quarterback for the future. But if he can't, I think it does more harm than good to keep him around. And that might put you into that, quarterback search. So interested to see how the rest of the season goes. I would assume we see AR-15 back out there next week for whoever you guys play, and we'll see how that dynamic flows. But it seems like they have a lot of off the field things to kind of settle up.
Yeah, hopefully they figure that out. Any thoughts on the Bills or Colts? The Bills pretty much just won the AFC East. So
yeah. I don't know why you put Anthony Richardson back out there this season, especially with his history of being hurt. I feel like bench him, let Joe Flacco play out the year.
Let Joe cook.
And then next year, give him a go. Give him a lot of time to
give him one more shot.
Learn. You think?
Yeah. I think they have to. I mean, you used the number 4 pick on him.
Well,
And-
I'm not saying bench him forever. I'm just saying,
yeah.
and I just mean until next year.
Yeah, I mean, I would be fine if he played this year. We're so mediocre that it's like, whether who's the quarterback, what's really going to change? We're still going to be right in the middle of the pack, and we're going to be coming in the last 2 weeks of the season.
Yep.
And it's either we're going to be in the playoffs and we're going to lose the first week, or we're going to have the 13th or 14th draft pick. That's just it's all it's been for the last 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
They need to figure something out. Yeah, I don't really know what to say. Josh Allen looks great.
Mm-hmm.
He's been quietly putting up one of the best seasons he's had, especially with very limited interceptions. He's been great. The Bills have looked great, and nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. All right, it's time. We move into Arrowhead Stadium today, where division rivals, one being here in Denver, Colorado, went on and faced the Kansas City Chiefs. We go to our reporter at the table. Thoughts?
I hate them so much. All of them. The whole organization. And
From Taylor Swift to Andy Reid
yeah. It's just a terrible way to lose a game.
to Spagnuolo,
I don't even know what that is. Fuck them.
defense coordinator. What went wrong today?
I mean, realistically, we're not supposed to be in that game, so whatever. But I don't know. What went wrong is the fucking line didn't block on a field goal and let the entire Chiefs defense in, and they hit the ball away on a field goal attempt. But a decent game besides that. I mean, we have the 9-0 Chiefs in a one-possession game. We should win the game. We kicked the field goal to win the game. I said it right there. We were talking about. I was like, it just has.
I just said, all you have to do is make this field goal.
He was like, you guys are in a position to win this game. I was like, it just has to go through the uprights, and it didn't. It never made it.
It didn't even get up in the air to go to the
It
uprights.
made it. It got up in the air.
A little,
It had to get up in the air for them to block it.
just a tad
And
bit,
just
though.
take it out of his foot.
I know you have some strong opinions on the Chiefs. Would you like to maybe share them?
Yeah. I don't know. I just think that the Chiefs are probably the worst 9-0 team we've ever seen, in my personal opinion. And that's, you got to understand that I do still think the Chiefs are one of the best teams.
Do you
in
think
the NFL.
do you think they're better than that Steelers one we had a couple years ago, and I think they were 10-0, and I forget who's their quarterback, but they were 10-0 to start the year off, and I think they ended up going 10-3 and then losing in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm maybe a little bit better than that,
Or something at 3.
I mean, I look at this team and I'm like, if Mahomes wasn't the quarterback of this football team, they would be a middle to low tier team in the NFL in general. I mean, all of their games, literally except for one game where they blew out. Who was it? It was
I think the Raiders.
The Raiders.
No,
The
that was kinda
49ers
close.
are the Chiefs? Is that who you're talking about?
Yeah.
The most they've won by is 10 points, and it was to the 49ers.
Yeah, so
It's just insane.
and I think every game since then it's been a possession, and by possession that means today 2 points. I think the Falcons by 3 points, and I think it's been 3.
The Ravens
2,
by 1.
5-1. They're barely winning these games, and it's always off of a block kick, Kyle Pitts getting dragged down in the end zone.
Isaiah Likely's foot being at one half
inch away from winning that game.
Yeah.
It's annoying because I don't think they're that good, and I think that's why it annoys me that they just keep winning games. And I'm sure a lot of people might hold the same opinion, but I don't know. It's just the last 2 years have been this kind of way. I think last year they were better, much better than they are this year. And granted, they are hurt. They're really hurt on the wide receiver end kind of a thing, but they got DeAndre Hopkins, I guess. But I don't know. I don't think this is sustainable. They're going to get into the playoffs, and they're going to play multiple really good teams in a row.
I think it reminds me of the Vikings, 2 years ago when Kirk Cousins, they were really good, but all their games were decided between a possession. I think literally almost every single game was. The only difference is they have Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, and Patrick Mahomes finds ways to win. That's kind of what he does.
But I think the Chiefs, as much as you don't want to give them credit, I get where you're coming from. I think the thing that's improved about these Chiefs teams, I think they've gotten worse, skill wise. Obviously, losing Tyreek Hill, losing L'Jarius Sneed, losing Tyrann Mathieu years ago, losing talent, that sucks. But I think they've gotten better on finding different ways to win. I get the Broncos aren't the most high scoring offense, but to hold any team in the NFL to 14 points, you're coming out of the game being that's good. It's just, I don't know. I think it's got to give a little bit of credit to Andy Reid and Spagnuolo, and just they're still winning these games. Obviously, it's not pretty. They don't look great,
Yeah.
but they're in position to go. They're 9-0 right now. Position. Honestly, their schedule. If they pick it up,
Yeah.
if they figure this out, they have a possibility of going 17-0. Their schedule's not very tough.
No.
Going forward. I don't know. I agree with you. I don't think they're as good. I just think people are taking away from Andy Reid. I think it's Spagnuolo.
No, yeah, I agree, and that's what I'm saying too. Is that I do still think they are a high, top 5 team in the NFL for sure. There's no doubt there, really. It's just I don't think this strategy of winning games by 2, by 3, banking on a good call near the end of a game or a blocked field goal. I don't think that's sustainable, especially if they're going to run back across the Ravens more than likely in the playoffs.
Or the Bills.
And I think both of those teams are slightly better than they are. I don't know about coaching. I think Andy Reid's the best coach we've seen in the NFL since Bill Belichick, realistically. But I think the Ravens are much better than them, and I think the Bills are kind of on level with them, and I think both those teams could beat them, and I don't think that the strategy of kind of barely winning is going to get them to a Super Bowl this year.
You left out Arthur Smith on that list too.
Arthur Smith.
Any last thoughts on Broncos Chiefs today?
No, I hope they lose every game for the rest of the season, to be honest with you.
I think if you told Hunter in August that BYU football and Kansas City Chiefs would both be 9-0 heading into the same exact day, he'd probably call me an idiot or something. Probably, I'd assume.
Yeah.
All right, well, we go into the Big Easy, Louisiana, New Orleans specifically.
Yep.
Where the Atlanta Falcons go into Caesars.
Yeah, Caesar
Superdome and lose 20-17.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I said this before we even started too. Is they hadn't won a game in 7 games. We were 6-1 in the past 7, or something in that general area. We were playing really good. We were looking really good. Saints look like shit. They have a new coach.
So of course, whenever all that stuff happens,
we were going to lose.
Yeah.
There was no way we were going to win that game.
That's football, baby.
Too many things look too good for the Falcons, and whenever that's the case, things tend to flip on their head. So that's kind of how that went. And honestly, Kirk Cousins even kind of mentioned it last week before this game. He was like, it's really hard to win against teams with an interim head coach that week.
Yeah.
They tend to win the game. And I think it's also one of those things where the Falcons are kind of in a position where they didn't need that win because they're going to beat the Panthers. They're going to go 5-1 in the division, more than likely going to make the playoffs, just because of how kind of iffy the rest of the NFC South has been. The Saints needed that. They needed that kind of boost, that win, and I think that pushed them through. And, yeah, just Younghoe Koo, I love him. I think he's a very good kicker. I think he's just had a really off day today and just could not get it to go through. I think he missed one, and then he got one blocked, and that probably in his head is just like, I can't get anything going at all. And then, yeah, the one, they had 2 opportunities at the end of the game to help us win, just could not get it in there. I mean, it sucks, but you know how good of a kicker he is, so you have to kind of take that into account when you're thinking about his performance. Yeah, he went 0 for 4 today, but he's also gone 3 for 3 from 55 plus before. It's just, he can do both. It's just, I think he was a little bit in his head today. So that was a game that we were gonna lose just because of all the factors going into it. But we're a Panthers win away, or beating the Panthers away from going 5-1 in the division, and that's pretty something I can take solace in.
2 things. One, Atlanta may have been looking ahead to next week's game where they have a good opponent in Denver, Colorado that you guys will be at. So that'll be cool. Also, second thing, Young Thug got freed and banned from the city of Atlanta, and y'all couldn't even beat the Saints for him? No? Shout out Young Thug. Welcome back. Any thoughts on maybe Young Thug or just Atlanta and New Orleans?
I'm very happy Young Thug's home. I will say that much. He should be allowed back in Atlanta as well, but that's not what we're talking about. The Saints suck though. You remember week 2 when everyone was like, wait a second.
They were high in our power rankings.
Yeah, we
our fake power rankings.
Their firstometer was through the roof.
Yes.
And they are terrible. But like you said, it's not the worst thing in the world for Atlanta, so He'll be all
Gotta
right.
move on to next week.
The Saints aren't any to worry about for anyone.
Yeah.
Dude, Joe Mixon has been killing it this year. All right, we move on to Tampa Bay, NFC South, also division opponent.
Mm-hmm.
San Francisco walked in there and got a 23-20 win over the Buccaneers. Christian McCaffrey, obviously the story, he's back. Both teams really banged up, though. Like Kittle and Debo played, but other than that, the 49ers are pretty banged up all around. Tampa has like no wide receivers anymore. They have Cade Otton and Bucky Irving and Rashad White. Other than that, Chris Godwin was out. He's out for the rest of the year. Mike Evans was out. I don't really think much to take away from that game.
Yeah.
I kind of expected. I think the spread was at like 3.5. Like it was a 3-point game.
Yep.
Really, I think kind of what we all expected. San Fran went on the road. Didn't look pretty, but a road win in the NFL, so a road win. And San Fran, they're picking it back up.
Yeah.
Kyle Shanahan, I almost forgot his name mid-sentence. Kyle Shanahan, in like the back half of seasons, has like 600 winning percentage or something like that. He starts off really bad, kind of like every year, and then it's like an above 500 winning percentage in the back half of the year. I think that's kind of what we're going to be seeing, especially with them getting McCaffrey back.
Oh yeah.
He looked fine, a little shaky every time he like hit the ground. I was like, oh fuck, hopefully he's okay. But if you guys don't have any thoughts on that game, we'll move on.
No.
Pittsburgh at Washington. You would have told me that the 6-2 Pittsburgh Steelers were going into Washington against the 7-2 Washington Commanders this year. I would have called you crazy, but that's what we did. That's what we dealt with this week. Pittsburgh goes on the road and wins in a 1-point game. Also, that spread was at 1.5. It was for Washington, but good job, Vegas. Spot on. I didn't really get to watch most of this game, but Jaden Daniels, still 202 yards. I'm sure I'll hear all about it tomorrow on Pardon My Take from PFT about what happened. So I don't want to, make any opinions yet, but I think both teams are fine. What this does for Pittsburgh, though, still ahead of the Ravens in the division. Yeah. And that means the Ravens are obviously the best wild card team maybe ever. But it's crazy to see that Pittsburgh, how good they are, and they're leading the AFC North.
Yeah, I think.
I think the game I'll be at next week will be to decide who's first in the AFC North.
Yeah. I think the Steelers are riding a very big high right now, and I think they're going to win a couple more here, and I think Tomlin's going to get to his over 500. I think they're going to have a rough patch. There's going to be a point where I think they're going to have some struggles getting some wins, which might just be 3 weeks, might be 2 weeks. I think they're going to hit a skid eventually, in my personal opinion, and I think that's going to bounce them back, and Ravens are going to take their place where they should be. But yeah, no, they're looking pretty good. Russell Wilson has proved to be the right decision to bring him in. Justin Fields was doing good, but Russell, I think if they don't have Russell in the situation that they were in to make a drive down the field to take the lead, I think if Justin's in that situation, I don't think he gets it done. I think the experience that Russell had helped them get that done. And then, Jaden Daniels, still a bright spot. That guy has a fucking cannon.
The way his ball placement is crazy. I think that pass to Terry McLaurin on the sideline was insane.
If he stays healthy for his career, that guy is going to have an insane career.
Yeah, and probably a couple MVPs.
Yeah, so it's going to be ridiculous to watch. But yeah, just good head-to-head between two just above middle, in between middle and high-level tier teams.
Any thoughts for you?
No, I didn't expect Russell Wilson to come in and be undefeated as a Steeler. So that's
while the Broncos are paying them the contract, or the Waltons, I should say.
It doesn't matter.
The rich fucks.
Look, yeah, exactly. No, fuck them. I don't know what else to say.
I was waiting for that. I really have no thoughts. I'll hear about all this game tomorrow for about 30 minutes in my right headphone. Minnesota versus Jacksonville. Sam Darnold was awful. He had 3 touchdowns. The game was 12-7. Minnesota wins a game without scoring a touchdown.
Interception.
Very Colts-esque. What did you say?
You said he had 3 touchdowns.
Oh, did I? I meant 3 interceptions. Yeah. Very opposite. That was a terrible game. I think we should just skip over it. Yeah. CJ Hawkinson's back, though. Pretty cool. Minnesota continues their great season. I think they've only lost 2 games.
Yeah, I think Darnold's just coming down a little bit. I think he was riding a really big high of momentum, And I don't think he's going to go back to being ass. I think he's just going to ride that line. He's going to get back down to being just a serviceable quarterback.
Not quite ass. Tits, you could say. Tennessee at Los Angeles Chargers. Pretty boring game. I think everybody knew that the Chargers were going to win this game.
Yep.
The Titans are pretty bad. They do have a top 10 defense somehow in the NFL, and they just cannot win games. Thank God they are at least worse than the Colts, because them and the Jags. So like the Colts are bad, but at least I can just like look 2 more spots in our division and be like, haha. But I think we have I think it's either next week or maybe it's a couple weeks down the season or a couple weeks down the line. But the Harbaughs match up against each other, Ravens, Chargers. So that'll be cool. Also, there's a stat. I'm going to butcher this, but on pardon my take, they've been keeping track of this. I think there's been 2 teams so far to play the Harbaugh brothers back to back. Each one of them have gone 1-1. So if that's any inclination, I think the Bengals, who just played the Ravens, I think the Bengals play the Chargers next week. If we're looking at it, maybe we sprinkle a little money on the Bengals. Maybe, because they got it. They lost last week, so that means they should win this week if the Harbaugh trend continues.
Yeah, I guess you don't really have to twist my arm too much to have me put money on the Bengals playing the Chargers.
Yeah,
Okay,
cool.
Cool.
It's not the craziest take.
Okay, cool. We're gonna do that. Let's just try to remember that for next week.
ESPN and Analytics go for it. So
I might need you guys to place that bet for me. I don't know Pennsylvania's.
I'm pretty sure they do.
They're fucking better.
Yeah.
I guess we're gonna find out. Philadelphia at the Dallas Cowboys. Philadelphia stomped the shit out of them, but I think the story is Dak is ass and Dak is out.
Yeah, no, that their season died with him. I think there was a glimmer of hope for them. If Dak was healthy, they could have maybe strung some wins together and kind of got something going to make the playoffs. He was their last chance of getting that done. Cooper Rush not going to be able to get it done. He did an all right job, I think, last year, 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
But
today was bad.
I think if you're Mike McCarthy right now, you're playing Trey Lance.
Yeah.
I think that's the smartest thing you can do is to play Trey Lance, because you might mess around and Trey Lance might kind of have a groove, and all of a sudden you're looking at a situation where you don't have to keep Dak anymore, and you can dish him to a team that will pick him up, even with the crazy contract that he has.
Yeah.
A team will pick him up that needs a quarterback, and if you can hit the jackpot on Trey Lance, who knows? But you'll never know if you keep putting him on the bench and never giving him a shot, because we really haven't seen enough of Trey Lance to throw any opinions at him. Like, when he's played, he's been mediocre, but it's kind of the Anthony Richardson effect. He hasn't played much.
Yeah.
He's played like one full game maybe for the 49ers before they went to Purdy. I think it's worth giving the young kid, or I guess, he's like 25, 26 now.
It's okay to give Unc a chance.
It's okay to give Unc a chance. Let him go out there and play. Obviously the 49ers drafted him for a reason. So maybe go out there and see what they saw and give him a shot. I mean, what are you going to lose? You're probably not going to make the playoffs at this rate, so you might as well go with Trey Lance. You don't really need to draft anybody, really. There's no real position that I can think of right now that they need desperately. They can live with like a
head coach.
A head coach, yeah. But they can live with like a 15 to 20 draft pick.
New owner.
Yeah. So I think give Trey Lance a shot, see what he can do, and it might save your franchise a little bit if you can do that.
Any thoughts?
I agree. I think personally, if I'm choosing between Cooper Rush and Trey Lance, I'm picking Trey Lance. But
agreed.
America's team sucks ass, so
Dak's ass.
Dak is ass.
How ass is he? Couple things. At least, as much as I hate the city of Philadelphia, at least they have one bright spot right now, and it is the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
The Eagles look a lot better last couple weeks. When their 3 best players on their basketball team in that city are all frauds and pieces of shit, then and your biggest music artist out of that city is also a piece of shit. It's going to be a rough week. So, I don't even think he's from there, but I know he's an Eagles fan. Some shit like that.
Wasn't he born in like Tokyo or something?
I think he was born in. No, I thought he was born in Oklahoma. Who fucking knows?
Born in Shitsville, USA.
Cowboys, a lot of drama in Jerry World. It's kind of crashing down. So I hope CeeDee Lamb continues to play well. Under whatever quarterback they decide to throw out there. Big matchup next weekend. Philadelphia versus Washington.
Mm-hmm.
That will be huge to decide, going forward, who might be leading that division in a week. And then, do you want to speak on your prediction preseason of who you said was going to win the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, I did have the Cowboys going and winning it all.
Say it one more time and put.
I had the Cowboys going and winning it all. It was just one of those things where I'm a man of my word. I stand on my word.
Well, injuries, you can't predict injuries.
Yeah, and also like when I left after I had said all that, I was like, I probably would switch them with the Lions. Like after that, but I said what I said, and I'm gonna stand on it. But yeah, injuries, that hurts. I think every year you just look at them, and I think it is a delusional thing from the Cowboys fans for sure. But looking at it, it's like they have a good team. They should be winning, and they're not. But I was like, eventually they're going to piece it together. They're going to figure it out, and they're going to go. I thought that was going to be this year, but like you said, injuries have kind of been bad. They lost their starting quarterback. Their coach sucks. Like they just weren't able to piece it together. So I think I just flop them with the Lions probably in my predictions there. So interested to see what the Dallas Cowboys do. They've been notorious for not making any changes these past few years. Jerry Jones he's so old and prideful that he just
and a former racist.
But
Is that how that works?
But yeah, I mean, I think they had a lot of high hopes going into the season, and I think a lot of people thought that maybe they could do decent this year. But yeah, it's just kind of all falling flat right out of the gate. So
I did pick them to win their division. That's obviously not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Next time they play, I hope both teams lose.
Yeah.
Fuck the Eagles and the Cowboys fans. But it was kind of just an ass kicking today. So last game on the slate, the New York Jets at the Arizona Cardinals. Arizona beats the shit out of the New York Jets. Between the Jets, Yankees, and Giants, all what's been happening these last 2 weeks, can you name a worse weekend in New York besides since 2001?
There's probably been a couple, but I don't know. It's ugly. I think the Jets are figuring out what happens when you half-ass a win now season, and I think that's what they've done. And I think this is the result you get. If all you do is go out and get a 40-year-old quarterback, and then his buddies from Green Bay, another team that was doing extremely mediocre, and then you bring in Devontae, who is kind of coming over the hill, I think, a little bit in his peak. So I think this is just what happens when you half-ass a win now season, and you're kind of seeing. I think Aaron Rodgers is getting beat up, and I think it's starting to creep in the I don't know how much longer I can do this for, and I think this whole thing, this win now they were trying to do, I think it's going to reverb and have really bad ramifications on the Jets for the next 5 years. Yeah. I think they're going after Aaron Rodgers leaves and all this stuff. They already suck. I think they're going to get worse. I think they're going to have about a 5-year stint where they cannot piece it together, because I think they were really hoping they would bring all these people in, maybe not win a Super Bowl, but make a big push and be able to kind of bring some people into the fold and then kind of keep pushing forward. They just look like trash. So I there's not much you can do to save it, and I think this whole win now thing that they half-assed is going to ruin them for a long time.
Thoughts over there?
I said it at the beginning. Aaron Rodgers cooked, smoked turkey.
Fried chicken.
Yep, all of it.
I think
the whole meal.
He no longer is able to win on his own.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I think is what he's been able to do for a lot of his career.
He just doesn't have his fastball anymore.
Yeah,
okay.
But I mean, you're 40.
Yeah.
It happens. Like every quarterback, even Tom Brady at 40 was like, I'm not doing this anymore because I don't think I can.
Just make sure you leave the game before the game leaves you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other thoughts? Sorry.
I mean, he does have 2,000 passing yards. He's top 10 in passing yards. He's not playing terrible, but if your team's not winning, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Brett Favre effect. Like if Brett Favre would have just retired, he would be looked at all the time as like,
holy shit.
Well,
I mean, yeah, but like in terms of just like football, I think he would have been looked at as pretty solid and like a great quarterback. But because he dragged it out for so long, I think it's just like that tarnished kind of the ending of his career.
Separate the art from the artist.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it tarnished like the end of his playing career, and I don't want that to happen to Aaron Rodgers, where he had such a great career. He won an MVP.
He won an MVP 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago.
And then like but then continued to play for 3 more years
Yeah.
and sucked, and that's kind of how he's remembered as a. I mean, obviously everyone will remember all the great things he did, but it's always going to be in the conversation. But remember when he drunk those last few years out and kind of
in 4 years, we remember when he was vice president of the United States of America.
Does he play for all the same teams as Brett Favre?
Does he go to the
Does he
Vikings?
go to Vikings? That'd be crazy. That was my shit.
Yeah.
I was like, that'd be crazy.
He goes to the Vikings.
He'd have to be a bad.
And then he
steals
and then he steals welfare
to build Southern Miss basketball.
and then he gets Parkinson's.
Yeah.
Right?
Boo.
Is that what he got?
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, I don't like my grandma has Parkinson's, but it's not something to joke about. But Brett Favre's a piece of shit. So
he kind of got the most immediate karma I've ever seen.
yeah. So like, sucks to suck, you know. Cardinals Friskometer meter.
Friskometer meter on the Cardinals they're going to be 7.
Dude, I have them at like 12.
They're 6-4 and they're first in the NFC West right now.
Yep. Frisky does not isn't it doesn't just it doesn't just mean that winning games. Okay, there's a lot of things that go into being frisky.
I like the cut of their jib, man. I don't know.
The cut of their jib.
I like the cut of their jib.
That's fire.
What does that mean?
I like the way they look. I like the way they're playing.
Yeah, okay.
I think it's like a
I've
eye test.
I've never heard that
They
before.
passed the eye test.
They have the Patriots and Panthers at the end of the season too.
Oh,
Seahawks, Vikings, and then Seahawks, Vikings, Seahawks, Patriots, Panthers, Rams, 49ers.
Damn,
Tough
they could
schedule.
win all of them.
It's tough schedule if you the division opponents. Other than that,
Mm-hmm.
the way the Vikings are playing, you never know right now. So that was the last game on the slates, though. Any other football news that I missed?
nope. Can't think of it.
No? Okay. Well, I mean, the Nuggets are on right now, so I'm going to go watch that. But next week this will come out Tuesday of this week, so the 12th. I guess happy birthday to my aunt and happy birthday to TJ if you guys are
Happy birthday.
listening to this. You guys'
Happy
birthday is on,
birthday.
I think, Wednesday, whatever day the 13th is. Happy birthday if you guys listen to this. Obviously, I'll tell you guys, but special shout out to you guys. Next week, yes, we're going to drop this on the 12th this week. And then next week, I think I put it on the Instagram, but we're recording on that Tuesday and then releasing the episode on Thursday. So I don't know exactly what dates those are. But I will be out of the state. They will be at Broncos Falcons, enjoying that game. I will be at Steelers Ravens in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So I'm excited that we're both going to be in, 2 different stadiums, both at NFL games. That's just football guy stuff right there.
Yeah.
So
Football guys.
good for us. So yes,
guys.
football guys, we're Roscoe guys. If you listen to this much, thank you. Go follow. They're above Jackson's head to Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Go follow. Press subscribe if you haven't, whether that's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you subscribe. Go shop Verb Energy Bars.
Yeah.
Use code ROCKSOLID, get 30% off. And go check out Slove. Make sure we shout out everybody here.
Mm-hmm.
Go check them out. You saw it at the beginning of the show, but you're going to hear it again before we let you leave. We do have something special coming up with them here soon, so stay tuned for that too. Anything else you guys want to say to the people before we leave?
No, so.
Texas is the number 3 team in college football.
The world.
And the Dodgers are number 1 in the world. World champions.
Didn't Kike say something?
What?
I think it was Kike where he's like World Series champion.
yeah.
He's like, fuck you, Noah Lyles.
Yeah. Agreed. Fuck you, Noah Lyles. That had nothing to do with the Dodgers. Just fuck Noah Lyles. But yeah, other than that, we will see you next week, a little later in the week. But I hope everybody has a good week. Enjoy all the time. It's almost the holidays, so start to enjoy it. And fuck this weather too. The snow has been killing me. So hopefully that stops. But other than that, you guys have a good week. Tell somebody you love them. You might just make their day. Peace.
Peace.